so. Oh, no, come on.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Another year, one time.
Yes, I know. Have our report here.
Okay.
So I'd like to thank the commissioners for approving the levy from Geauga Mental Health and Recovery Services Board. It means a lot to our agency and the other agencies in Geauga County, so we really appreciate it. So the report I gave you is similar to what I've given you every year. We changed it actually last year and made it more user-friendly, I think. So I'll take just a couple minutes to go through this as far as utilization for the jail treatment program. And I had a really good conversation with our staff there, and we are still being impacted by COVID and lower numbers in the jail. But if you look at that first chart there, and we have fiscal year 21, 22, and 23, and those are what the inmates who have received assessments or group counseling. The gray area for fiscal year 23 is just the first 3 quarters, so that obviously will change once this quarter is completed, June 30th. So the next page then is the treatment completion rates. Those who successfully complete the jail treatment program. And again, we just for comparison, we have shown fiscal year 21, 22, and 23. And again, keep in mind this completion rate is just the first 3 quarters for fiscal year 23. And then just for comparison's sakes, again, just to see other programs in the area, we've included the statistics for Lake County Jail Treatment Program for fiscal year 22 and 23. And that just goes across the page there. The last one in green, the SAMHSA Traditional Intensive Outpatient Treatment, that is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And just to kind of get a national average, we thought it's important to include those numbers too as far as percentages. And you can see that we are way above the average for that for successful treatment completion. The third page then, Chardon Jail Treatment Program Aftercare Utilization. Again, these are things that we believe are impacted by a couple things. A number of the people in that program are from out of county, and so they would be referred to an aftercare program that's in their home county. Some of the people in jail treatment move on to a different service. They might go to our residential treatment program after jail treatment, or an intensive outpatient treatment. So not everyone comes to our aftercare program. But I do think the numbers, it's my understanding, and I don't know this for a fact, but it's my understanding that the jail was still following the public health emergency and were quarantining individuals, so that impacted the numbers of people we had in our jail treatment program. So now that the public health emergency is lifted, the words were open for business in the jail, at least that's what our staff said, so I think the census is up there, and we have 9 in our group right now, and they're all set to complete that program here before the end of June. So you'll see those numbers will fluctuate here by the end of the quarter.
So someone that takes you up on the aftercare utilization program, is it like a 90-day program or 120 or?
For aftercare, they're all individualized. So that's usually determined when they come in, and then it's based on their progress. So if you tell individuals that it's 90 days, they're counting down the clock, and so we really want to see their progress and see that they're ready. So it's really individualized. And then at the bottom of that chart on page 3 with aftercare utilization, we also have the Chardon Jail Treatment Program aftercare treatment completion. So we have 100% who have completed that program successfully. So those who begin actually went through and finished the entire program. So the numbers this fiscal year are really impressive, I think. And again, I included Lake County Jail treatment and then the SAMHSA statistics just for comparison. And then we always, for years now, have done a 6-month follow-up for people that have completed jail treatment to see how they're doing 6 months later. We look at how many are sober at the time of contact, how many have relapsed, and how many were rearrested. So those numbers are represented there as well. We had a little bit of a drop last year in the numbers who were sober at contact, but at the same token, we had a drop in those who had relapsed. Right now, the rearrest rate has been 0 for those who were contacted. So this, of course, would be for fiscal year 22 because we wouldn't have this 6-month follow-up yet for fiscal year 23. You can, please interrupt me if you have questions as I'm going through these.
And when you said they were contacted, you contact them to ask them if they were arrested?
Either them or their probation officer. So they get the information through the court system, through criminal justice, so sometimes it's the individual themselves. And then I included our charts for residential treatment. And the reason I did that is because there are a fair number who would leave a jail treatment program and be admitted into one of our residential treatment programs. Now, of course, this is not just those folks, this is anybody in our residential treatment program. So again, fiscal year 21, 22, and 23, comparing the 3 years. And again, these are treatment completion rates, and by that we mean those who have successfully met all their treatment plan goals and successfully completed the treatment program. And then we compared it to SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, to give you kind of a national number as to what those numbers look like in comparison to Lake Geauga recovery centers. The next page is the residential 6-month follow-up. So that is another item we've done for many, many years. We track our residential clients, those who successfully completed. We track them at 6 months and 12 months. And we're not just looking at are they sober, we're looking at do they have an improved quality of life. So are they working? Have they been rearrested? Are they involved in ongoing counseling? Are they involved in 12-step meetings, things like that? So we're looking at much more than just are you sober today? And those are our outcomes at 6 months. The best number we could find to compare that to, as far as any other programs that are doing a 6-month follow-up, was in an article from the Journal of Psychiatry. And so that is looking at 56% as far as follow-up after 6 months. And then the other numbers for Lake Geauga recovery centers are prior to that. And then the 12-month follow-up is the last page there. And so you can see our numbers did drop a little bit between fiscal year 20, 21, and 22. So we'll be anxious to see how things look now in 23. A lot of that was during the pandemic and had a big impact on people in recovery as far as isolating, and that's always a very dangerous thing for people in recovery. So we hope to see those numbers go up.
I've always been impressed by the statistic of the Geauga jail treatment program completion. You know, we have rates of 96%, 85%, 80%, 93%. But then the average is saying it's 25.9. I mean, is that?
Well, and that is comparing. That's a little misleading to me because that's a traditional intensive outpatient treatment, so those people aren't necessarily incarcerated.
Okay, because they're in jail, they're not being forced to do it, but there's a pretty good.
You have captive
There's
audience.
yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
And that was my question when I looked at 78% fiscal year 21. Like, why would only 78% complete? But some people actually choose to not participate and do their jail time and be done. Some might get started and then they change their mind. They don't want to participate. So, there's a kind of a different variety.
Okay.
But
That
I'm real pleased
could
with
be
it,
a
yeah.
contributing factor why those numbers are so much higher than say the national or the
Yes,
SAMHSA
yeah,
average.
it's really not apples to apples.
Okay.
Any questions about those statistics or utilization of the jail treatment program?
So last year, what was the number that we received for Geauga mental health? For the, like, what was the number that you would receive
For the jail
dollar-wise for, yeah?
It was 66,000, they
From
increased
the
it.
Geauga, the Board of Mental Health and Recovery Services, 66,000.
It had been 60,000 for many, many, many years, and they could give us a slight
And then,
increase.
and you're gonna be operating more of the treatment residents, like Geauga Recovery, is that right? Are you gonna be operating some of those or no? Or that's not gonna be, you're partnering with mental health on some of that or not? On the residential?
No, that's, no, we
Okay.
are not.
Okay.
Charles is going to talk to you a little bit about our funding request, and one of the areas we've identified, we have hired more staff in our Chardon office, and people are tripping over each other. We really need a bigger location. Rather than have a bigger location than Chardon, we'd really like to improve access for people in the southern part of the county. So we are looking at expanding and opening an outpatient office in the southern part of the county, probably with Millfield. So Charles is going to talk to you a little bit more about that.
Okay.
So, obviously, we would like to request again, last year, the commissioners, you guys have been gracious enough to do a 5% increase for the jail treatment program, $46,000. So we would respectfully ask for the same amount again.
Yeah, that number's been the same for quite some time, right?
Well, it actually increased last year for the first time after quite some
Okay.
time.
Okay.
And then so we would like to ask for 46,358 to continue that. And then as far as our request for funding assistance with the new office, this would be a one-time request, and for 9 months, because we would assume it would take us 3 months to locate a space and also hire a front office person. The request for the 9 months would be $67,236. That's $32,400 for the office space and utilities, and then $34,836 for the front desk person for 9 months. That would be $16 per hour for a full-time person.
Okay, so is that request in addition to?
Correct.
Mhm. Okay.
So let me get my arms around this. So we're down still a little bit, right? But we've got more staff.
Down still.
As far as services, if you look at our numbers, we're still not to what we used to be.
Well, that's in the jail treatment. We're requesting for our outpatient services.
And your numbers on the outpatient, where is your increases on that?
I don't have that report because it's really not something that we have funded,
I
so.
mean, can we come back and talk about that? Because I just,
Well, we're limited by how many people we can serve in that office because we can't hire any more staff. And so you'll see the numbers are not going to reflect that we have a big increase in clientele because we only have so many offices and so many counselors we can fit into that office.
Let me ask you, are we, and I don't know if Jerry's not here, but because maybe, some of the settlement money we had received from the opioid settlement, would we be able to purpose that money towards something like that?
That was a question that I had asked Jerry actually yesterday before he left, and knowing that they were looking at doing some kind of expansion, is that the opioid funding would be something that
I think that would be
considered to be because of what it goes for.
ideal, perfect place to.
so then we would be running two locations then?
Correct.
Because we don't have enough space in the other one?
That and to, like Melanie said, provide closer access for people on that side of the county.
I mean, what if we would just basically, relook at this, and if you're hiring another front office, front person, you already got that in Chardon now, right?
Yes.
Well, we only have the one front desk person. We don't think we would need to hire another counselor. So we would need a front desk person in both locations.
Right, but you already have a front desk person right now. What if we would just look to, you're in Chardon, what if we would just shift to a bigger location, centrally located, and then you don't have to hire another front desk person?
Well, we do have a lease at that building, so that's one issue. But again, we would, one of our goals is just increasing access to those in other parts of the county.
Right, but if you were centrally located, you could cut costs and increase services. I'm just saying
Less duplication.
Right, we're
less
duplicating the
doorways.
same process. We're basically, we're putting a whole nother set of expenses. I mean, I don't know, have we researched that to see if there's an option, like if you wanted to, basically take Geauga County and look at where the center point is and see if there's something available there that serves everybody, and then we don't have to worry about another, front person. That's basically, the front person is what, you're taking appointments, scheduling, handling the phone. I mean,
Or like a bigger centrally located.
bigger centrally located location,
That's been, I'm not trying to, I know what Ralph's saying, and, we're not trying to micromanage what you do. You do a very good job, but we're just saying, maybe that might be another way to look at it.
Yeah,
It's less,
We've just seen this too
heating
many
bills,
times,
it's less
so-
electric bills, it's less
Right.
everything. If you had one centrally located place that could serve everybody, but maybe that's, maybe you have a different reason for having multiple, expanding into two or more.
And here's the other problem, and
Well,
I'm
we
sure
want to
it's in
support you on it.
it's probably in your area also, finding people, it's a struggle. So you open up another location, are you gonna have people to bring in,
This has been on our radar for probably 2 years now
Right.
because of that, and we were hesitant to move forward with it because of that. Things have opened up a little bit, we are finding it a little bit easier to hire people. The biggest part is clinical staff.
Right.
Not so much, front desk
Sure.
staff,
Right.
but hiring licensed counselors has been a struggle.
And our GFS is in a struggle all the time for that, and I'm just seeing like we're duplicating this, and it's, I don't know.
I guess, it sounds like it's more administrative, not as much more service. Is that correct?
No, it would be service.
Oh, it is.
And the whole goal here is to, we hear so much about problems with transportation in Geauga County. And so if we move out of Chardon and we find something that's centrally located within the county, then I would really worry about access for everybody. Because right now, a lot of our folks come from the 44024 zip code, but that's where our office is. And so if we move to what we call centrally located, which I'm thinking centrally located would mean somewhere within the county, I'm concerned then we would really have a problem with transportation and people getting to us. So the whole concept
How they get to
of...
you now?
Hmm?
How they get to you now?
Well, I think because we're in Chardon, there's a little bit more accessibility, but,
From
Chardon,
Bainbridge or
if you look at Chardon, you're the furthest from Bainbridge, from, South Russell,
that's why I said if you look at
Russell,
our...
Auburn. I'm just saying, if, let's say, for example, you're in Burton, let's say that as a center point, you're in Newberry, you've got, you're pretty much in the middle, that 44024, you're just basically coming here, 44072, you're just heading east. I'm saying, if we could just, I'm just not a big fan of duplication of services and duplication of manpower. I think that, and fortunately for Geauga County, our numbers aren't what maybe they are in Lake County, or for sure what they are in Geauga County. It's, I just think that, this plan needs to really be looked at. I won't support putting money into a second location until you can really convince me, because I just think that we could do more with less.
Let me ask you, so a lot of the clientele or residents that are coming in from, they're not just Geauga County residents, they're Lake County residents as well?
In our Chardon office?
Yeah.
No, they're
No.
Geauga.
Just Geauga? Okay.
It was a jail where there were
Other
others.
counties.
Got you, okay. Yeah, go ahead,
I
Jim.
think with the opioid dollars, about 80% of the people that are mentally challenged are on some kind of drugs, and on some kind of, you know. So I think it'd be worthwhile looking at the opioid dollars that we are using. And then how many square feet do you need totally? Like you said, the
Right,
second
so what's
office
our
or the third
current
office,
office?
what's your square footage
About
there?
2,500 square feet.
2,500, and do you need another 2,500?
That's what we'd be looking at.
I see. So to centralize something in 50,000 square foot office space and counseling rooms and things like that.
Group rooms.
So that is so it's gonna be a standalone, you'll have two operations going simultaneously, is the plan, that's the
Right.
game plan. And you're looking for an additional, on top of the 46,000, for an additional 67,
236.
236.
One time.
Right.
You know, I'd like to explore, if you don't mind, I don't know, it sounds like you've been, you know, mulling this over for a while now, right? This move. You know, it might not hurt just for another week or so if we could explore the possibility of using the opioid settlement dollars, because I think this would be a good example of use for that. But also, you know, I think maybe we can talk some more individually about your plan, you know, because I'd like to see the plan, you know, what the business plan is for going to two separate operations. Maybe talk to you in a little more detail on that. Not to say I'm opposing you doing that, but if we're going to be a part of that funding process, I'd like to know a little bit more about how that's going to not only get started, but to continue to operate in the years to come, and what that means.
The reason we had asked for just startup is because once we have counselors and clientele coming in, obviously we'll be billing for their services. So we wouldn't need additional funding from the commission.
So this is a one-time, that's what you said? Okay. Yeah.
But with any new program, it takes a little bit of time to ramp up. So
Okay.
we felt 9 months would certainly be adequate, and after that point, we would be billing for their services, which is what we do with.
And then you'd be able to self-sustain from
Yes.
there? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
How many locations do you have in Lake County?
For just
Outpatient
now?
offices, yeah. Two.
Like east side, west side of Lake?
Well, Menor and Painesville, so not so much on the west side.
Okay.
Central.
And forgive me, but what is the estimate or the approximate number of patients you're serving right now at your current facility?
In Sherman,
Yeah.
it averages between 250 to 280
A year?
a year.
A year.
But again, we're limited because we can only fit 2 counselors in that office, and they can only see X amount of clients each week because
Gotcha.
on their schedule,
Yep.
so.
So if you had more counselors, more room.
We could treat more people.
More people.
I mean, my thought process, I mean, I sold the building, got there in the services building to UH, and they're kind of like an idle, because they want to remodel some of the, you know, maybe they have 2,500 square feet over there, I don't know. But there's a lot more to think about.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you listening to our.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we can get the 46,000 that we do, you know, annually, we can get that rolling right away, right?
Yeah, for the regular
Yep.
part of it?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we could make a motion on that and get that approved.
And then we'll research on our end, we'll do some
Okay.
research on our end with the opioid money, which I'd be shocked if we couldn't utilize it in that manner. But we'll do that homework, right? And then we'll get back to you real soon on that. And then maybe we can discuss, you know, I know as a, you know, if we want to reconvene, I hate to take up more of your time next week or something, but, or whenever it's convenient for you.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
You know, we can reconvene and discuss that a little further, the business plan. Because with it being a one-time payment, with it possibly being opioid money, you know, I'm pretty much in favor of that. But I'd just like to hear a little bit more of the logic and the reasoning, the business plan for opening 2 locations and how that's gonna
I think you could even talk with our community economic development group. They may have contacts of locations too in their database of who has openings too
Okay.
for that type of facility, you know, as far as being able to just have decent sized centrally located facility.
Yeah.
That might,
It would be nice to have something next to the nearby the hospital, like you said,
That'd be
you know, or nearby here too, that would be fantastic. I mean, this is pretty close to being central of the county, right where we're sitting, so.
Okay.
But, okay, great.
Okay.
Well, so we'll make a motion,
Or to 46,358, you know.
yes, okay, I will make that motion.
second.
Commissioner Milton?
Yes,
Commissioner DeWitt?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
I,
and then we'll get back to those soon on the remainder.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you, appreciate your time.
Thanks.